Hey guys, Dr. Josh Axe here and Jordan Rubin. Welcome to Ancient Medicine today. And today we're going to be talking about how to overcome arthritis, joint pain, neck pain, low back pain, osteoarthritis, and any sort of chronic joint pain you're experiencing on a regular basis. We're going to be talking about the best foods, supplements, diet, herbs, essential oils, and a lot more. Let's talk about chronic pain to start though. How many people today do you think are suffering with chronic pain, and how's it affecting their lives?
Well, I think if you add pain, arthritis, of the osteo variety, rheumatoid arthritis, and then there's other versions of arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis. I mean, you go into some of the inflammatory conditions. I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 40 million people experience that in America alone, and chronic pain is even higher boosted. But arthritis is serious, and now that I've reached 40, I went seeing my parents' generation with knee replacements, hip replacements, shoulder issues, and now with new healthcare laws in place, people are not getting the procedures as quickly as they need to. So if you're watching and you're experiencing pain, stiffness, arthritis, immobility, we're going to give you 3 to 5 keys within 7 answers for arthritis that will absolutely make a difference. And these are not all obvious. They're not what you're going to learn from every single health book or health magazine, but we really dug deep to find some hidden clues to stop arthritis and all the arthritic conditions in their tracks.
Now, Jordan might be 40, but we were doing a photo shoot on Monday, and somebody said that you looked like you were in your lower 30s. So that was quite a compliment. All right, guys. So we're going to
talk all the makeup that I'm using. Like we had hours of makeup prior to this.
Well, Jordan, we're going to jump in, and we're going to jump into some in-depth nutrition here. I'm going to be doing some writing on the board, so the things you see up here, you'll see a lot more by the end of the program. Number one here, let's talk about the best foods and the ideal diet to get rid of arthritis and chronic pain.
Absolutely, and let's first say this: an overarching diet that is great for inflammation is a lower carbohydrate, quality protein, high good fat diet. I'm going to give you 3 foods that I believe will begin to eat away at your joint pain, start diminishing your back pain, start reducing inflammation right away. We even have conditions, carpal tunnel. If you look at, we were playing basketball the other night with some of us 30 and 40-year-olds, and everybody had some kind of a previous injury, ACL, MCL, patella this, back, it's amazing. And we're not even in the 40 million. We're just normal folks that run around and try to pretend we're kids. But diet is number one, and I'm gonna start with 3 powerful foods. Number one is sockeye salmon. Wild sockeye salmon has 3 powerful compounds and nutrients we're gonna hit later. Omega-3s, powerful fatty acids, astaxanthin, a powerful antioxidant, and some vitamin D, which is great for the joints, particularly rheumatoid arthritis. So wild sockeye salmon, you can get canned salmon affordably, inexpensively. It's great on a salad. Really, really easy. No excuse not to consume wild sockeye salmon at least 3 times a week. It will begin to make you feel better.
Yeah, Jordan, it's so important. Listen, if you're watching this right now, or you have a family member that is struggling with chronic pain in their body, one of the most important things that you want to help them with or help yourself with is balancing out that omega-3 and omega-6 ratio. As Jordan's talking about, salmon is incredible because it's high levels of EPA and DHA. We know EPA, especially along with DHA, these are strong anti-inflammatory fats. We want to lower that inflammation in the body and help balance things out. And Jordan, one other thing we could toss in there, now most people don't eat the fish skin, but we know that would be a great source of collagen as well, which is great for pain. So salmon, number one. What do you got for number 2?
Number 2, this is one of my favorite foods, and I think it's kind of rare. I met a good friend of mine came from Georgia yesterday and hadn't even heard of this. Muscadines. They're not necessarily a grape, but people call them muscadine grapes. That's M-U-S-C-A-D-I-N-E. I'm doing that for you, not just for you. Muscadine is an amazing source of polyphenolic antioxidants. They are grown mostly in the South. So you see them in Georgia, Tennessee, North Florida, Alabama. There's 2 kinds. There's the red or purple, and then there's the green, which are called scuppernongs. I'm not sure where that comes from, but they have very thick skins, and you eat the seeds. And the seeds are a little bit bitter because they contain cyanidins. That's where cyanide comes from. So muscadines, get them at your local grocery or health food store. And I want you to tell me if you consume muscadines and how you consume them. I can't stop eating them. In fact, chew the skin, chew the seed. You'll get OPCs, which are polyphenolic antioxidants, similar to green tea, but I think better. Really, really good. Now, if you're watching from South America, get this. There's a Brazilian grape type berry called jaboticaba. Jaboticaba grows on the bark of a tree. It is so wild.
Yeah.
So if you're watching out there and you consume muscadine, or if you live in America and have ever consumed jaboticaba, let us know. I might have a gift for you.
Well, what's number 3 here, Jordan?
Okay, you know what? This is a good one, and this is not talked about enough. Olives.
Oh, yeah.
Olives that are fermented. You know, you can get raw olives today that have been lacto fermented. I got to admit, I'm not an olive fan from a taste perspective, but I'm learning to eat them because olives not only have omega-9 fatty acids, but they have hydroxytyrosol, which is a powerful antioxidant. That's water soluble. So if you have joint pain, stiffness, lack of flexibility, any type of itis, particularly arthritis, add these 3 foods to your diet. You're getting astaxanthin and omega-3s, muscadine gives you OPCs, and olives give you omega-9 fatty acids and hydroxytyrosol. And obviously, the good doctor here is adding the proteolytic enzyme-rich fruits, papaya, pineapple, fig, and kiwi. Someone just said, good eye, mate, from Australia. They have kiwis more in New Zealand. But either way, those 4 fruits are powerful sources of enzymes. We're going to cover enzymes more a little later in the supplement section. But there are some powerful clues left. When you get to the end of the program, we're going to give you approximately 5 supplement recommendations that can stop pain in its tracks. Not to mention topical and oral essential oils for pain. If you know anyone who has arthritis or bursitis or carpal tunnel or back issues, knee issues, bilateral knee pain is the #1 form of arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis, any itis at all, we're giving you 7 answers for arthritis on today's Ancient Medicine program.
All right,
You're just going nuts
I'm going
here.
on a rampage here. Just a few others I just want to mention. Of course, bone broth is incredible. It's great for your joints. Flax, chia, and hemp. Got some omega-3s there. So let's talk about some of the best herbs here as well. So we got some of our top foods you can be consuming on a regular basis.
Yeah, that's good. It's only 17 of those. So we want to try to get 3. But so herbs, we're talking about leafy herbs. Holy basil is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Holy basil is a great anti-inflammatory and a mild COX-2 inhibitor. I'm going to go with holy basil as #1. I'm going to go with, this is a hard one because I only want to do 3. I'm going to say #2 is rosemary. I was close because oregano is highly anti-inflammatory as well. So we're going to go, these are herbs, buddy. We just talked about this. I got this going. Yeah, get that out of there. Holy basil is #1. Let's go rosemary #2. And this has sort of become old hat here in America, but green tea is a great source of anti-inflammatory polyphenols. So is white tea. And I know we look at this and think there could be 10 others, but I want to give you tips that you can implement immediately starting today. So go out and get some rosemary, holy basil, and green tea, even organic, dried in bulk, and make an infusion. Equal parts of the 3. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times, rosemary is not one of those foods that people tend to correlate with reducing inflammation, but it's incredible for that. In fact, rosemary, you may not know this, it's also been shown to be very effective against helping balance your blood sugar levels, which I think balancing insulin is a key to reducing inflammation. It's been shown to be supportive for the brain. So rosemary and its main compound, rosmaric acid, is great for reducing inflammation. We've got green tea here. Holy basil, Jordan, also great for hormones. Let's jump right into spices now as well.
Take off. And speaking of giving you this information over and over again, I guarantee you're going to guess the first 2. We know that turmeric and ginger are incredible for arthritis. Cayenne pepper is great, not only as an oral, but as a topical. If you look at some of the creams out there, the capsaicin it can be a topical analgesic. So I had a couple in mind, but cayenne is definitely one of them. So, buddy, talk about lighting things up. Someone mentioned golden milk. Take almond or coconut milk and put it in a pot. Put some turmeric, ginger, and cayenne. I'd recommend dried herb, but if you want to put powder, you can as well. If it's powder, just mix it up and later consume it. If it's dried herb, you want to boil it, bring it to a simmer, and strain it out. Bam! I mean, the cayenne will drive the absorption of the ginger and the turmeric. It'll bring good, healthy inflammation to the source cells that'll repair your joints, but that's a powerful 3-spice combo that everyone out there would benefit from consuming.
Some of the best herbs. And Jordan, with hot pepper, that's not something a lot of people tend to usually think of being anti-inflammatory, but it might be the most powerful one on here. I mean, it is so potent.
And when you combine hot pepper, that would be chili or cayenne, with green tea, there's powerful research on its ability to reduce inflammation. Same with ginger. So I recently saw a great study on ginger and hot pepper combined for being highly anti-inflammatory. We cannot say enough good things about herbs and spices. If you've watched us the last few weeks, one of the major takeaways, and there's a few, we need to do a best of show. We love bone broth. Unashamedly, we love bone broth. It's good for everything. We love herbs and spices.
Yeah.
We believe that each and every one of you could do well to get your spice rack, expand it, consume more every day in your food, in teas, in decoctions, and in supplement form. I made a incredible tea blend this week for my family. There's been a cold or a flu going around, and we're loading up. We're talking about lemon peel infused with lemon essential oil, oregano infused with oregano oil, peppermint's the base, rosemary, and clove. All these herbs we infused with essential oils, and then we made it a hot water infusion. And if your cold can withstand that, you got a pretty strong cold.
So let's talk about essential oils. And one of the things I know, Jordan, that we're working on, or you've used a lot in the past, is using fresh herbs with essential oils and making a tea out of those. As you're talking about, let's start talking about some of our favorite essential oils for this. Some of these could fall right into the spice category, but I'm going to throw a few others out here. Actually, why don't you touch on yours and I'll fill in the blanks.
Well, I know where you're going to go with this, but topically, wintergreen is pretty powerful.
Absolutely.
Wintergreen should not be consumed orally, but wintergreen is a great topical essential oil for your joints, for pain. It cools the system. It's got mentholated compounds. There's others. Peppermint, of course, is really good, both internally and externally, but those are really phenomenal. And you're right. Ginger, turmeric, rosemary, clove, all of these oils are really real powerful. But I know you want to give a couple oil recommendations that may be outside the box, not just your everyday garden variety frankincense.
Absolutely. One of my other favorites is helichrysum. And helichrysum has actually been used especially for nerve injuries. Actually, over the past, it has some really cool, actually similar properties to frankincense in its ability to reduce inflammation, and has key compounds called sequestrins, similar to frankincense, that have been shown to be really strongly anti-inflammatory. And I think this is really great too. If you have any type of scarring from an injury, doing a mix of helichrysum and frankincense on the area is very effective. But that is a great anti-inflammatory.
Right, and I would say on the herb side, we didn't mention boswellia or frankincense because it's really a resin and we don't know where to fit it. But frankincense has got to be the go-to oil for arthritis. Now remember, if you're going to consume oils internally, we recommend oils that are labeled as dietary supplements and certified organic. So if we're talking about frankincense and helichrysum, now is helichrysum an internal or external only?
Usually it's external.
Okay, so we've got helichrysum and wintergreen externally, frankincense internally. When you've got herbs, spices, and essential oils, you've got it all.
Yeah.
Made in the shade.
And internally, Jordan, I love doing frankincense and ginger essential oil together.
Wow.
Two of my absolute favorites. So again, these are some essential oils, and we recommend, let's say for instance, if you've got an aching elbow or an aching knee, what we would recommend is taking a blend of these oils together, maybe mixing with a little bit of coconut oil and rubbing it and putting it directly on the area. And one of the things, Jordan, that's really powerful, it's kind of like your own, listen, here's a recipe for your own at-home natural, hot, icy hot sort of natural remedy. You have herbs like ginger, which is very warming to the body, and ginger and clove. So you can do a ginger and clove mix, and then also put together wintergreen and peppermint, which are more cooling. Then you have helichrysum and frankincense, which are more anti-inflammatory. So that combination of anti-inflammatory, warming, and cooling all together in an area is very powerful. In fact, Jordan, in a lot of at-home muscle rubs, they use capsicum or cayenne pepper as one of the bases because of its warming properties.
Absolutely.
And we have another recipe. If you just search Dr. Axe muscle rub, we actually have a muscle rub with cayenne pepper there online as well. So these are some of the best essential oils. All right, Jordan, let's jump in here and talk about this. This one might surprise some people. It's medicinal mushrooms for pain.
Absolutely, and I want to tell you the one that I believe is most effective for arthritis. Remember, this is 7 answers for arthritis. In fact, any itis you have, joint pain, stiffness in your elbows, your knees, your back, your shoulders. Maybe you've got fibromyalgia and you've got a lot of pain. Carpal tunnel syndrome. Maybe you've got other pain issues. All of this will make a huge benefit.
Jordan, let's jump into one of the other mushrooms here that you might have or recommend here as part of the medicinal mushroom category.
Absolutely. I think reishi or Ganoderma is amazing. So reishi is great for almost anything. It's adaptogenic, but it can be used in arthritis long term as a balancing medicinal mushroom. And I would say Remedies versicolor, turkey tail.
All right.
Turkey tail is powerful at supporting the immune system. And anytime you've got inflammation, you've got an imbalanced immune system. So we got reishi, we got turkey tail, and we have a fungus that involves caterpillars and worms. What is it? Cordyceps. Cordyceps sinensis, Cordyceps militaris. Cordyceps is an amazing fungi. Now, today, commercially grown cordyceps is they replicate the environment. They don't use insects, but it is powerful. And years ago, the Chinese Olympic team claimed that cordyceps was the reason they performed so well. Also helps with oxygenation. It's great for the kidneys in traditional Chinese medicine, which is why it stimulates, I think, kidney qi, which is why it's really good for reproductive health.
Absolutely.
So I've heard.
Great stuff here. So reishi, turkey tail, cordyceps. Jordan,
powerful.
Now can you give us a little bit of a background on how these actually, how do they help the joint specifically or arthritis?
Well, reishi has various compounds, including triterpenoids, that are highly antioxidant and balances the immune system and balances cortisol and DHEA. So all of that makes your body resist and adapt to outside stressors.
Wow.
Turkey tail is a immune system balancer, so it helps to balance the inflammatory response, particularly in rheumatoid arthritis. And cordyceps has powerful nutritive compounds to help joints and connective tissue in their flexibility and mobility, and just it makes you limber. It's really, really amazing.
Wow. Awesome
Mushrooms
stuff.
are not herbs, they're not spices, they're not vegetables. They are an entirely different category, and you're going to hear me talking about them much, much more. Listen, if you're dealing with arthritis, if you're dealing with chronic pain, back pain, knee pain, if you're dealing with restless legs, if you're dealing with carpal tunnel syndrome, even migraines, these next two areas, these next two answers are going to be absolutely key. So let's start with nutrients. I'm going to give 3 nutrients that are answers for arthritis. Now, I know there's many, okay, but I'm going to give particularly 3. Let's start with vitamin D. Many people that deal with arthritis, particularly rheumatoid arthritis, have a vitamin D deficiency. So we want to consume more vitamin D. And here's a surprising one. Along with that, vitamin K2, either MK4 or MK7. You can get it from grass-fed butter. You can get it from natto. You can get it from certain soft cheeses such as brie. But vitamin K2 and vitamin D are a powerful combo for arthritis and pain. And lastly, and this one is not talked about much, boron. Boron is very deficient in our soil today, and there's some good research that shows that boron can support joint and bone health. A lot of times that goes hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. So, boron is huge, Jordan. I know that you've formulated products in the past as well that had these 3 ingredients that not only help support joint health, but also bone health, which we know is critical as well.
Double whammy.
Double whammy. So anytime we are really working on supporting your joint space, oftentimes it's going to be a similar thing that sort of strengthens bones, Jordan. Within Chinese medicine, as you were mentioning at the very beginning of the program, the kidneys, the adrenals, and the reproductive organs are all sort of those areas that if you have knee issues especially or low back pain, those issues are typically tied to those organs. And so adding in these nutrients are great, as Jordan's talking about, for your joints, for your bones, but also even your reproductive organs, your kidneys, and your adrenal glands. All of these things we're talking about help nourish these areas as well. And Jordan, one of the questions I know we often get is, how much of these should we take? How much vitamin D, how much K2, and how much boron if somebody's going to take that as a supplement?
I would recommend getting your vitamin D levels tested. Now, if you look up, there's some interesting articles on vitamin D and vitamin K as a ratio.
Yeah.
And some people say as tight a ratio as a 10-to-1 between vitamin D and vitamin K. But here's the deal. Try to get as much as 120 micrograms of vitamin K2, and then vitamin D, if you're deficient, sometimes it's even prescribed 50,000 IUs a day, but I would say as we're coming into the winter months, if you're low in vitamin D, 10,000 IUs a day minimum. Look for a fermented source of vitamin D so it is better absorbed.
And try and find, you know, Jordan and I are huge fans of organic, certified organic supplements. Look for that organic certification on the label for vitamin D.
And boron, the daily recommendation is typically about 3 milligrams, and we just don't get enough of it in our soil. That combination can make a big difference in your health. Some multivitamins have that.
Absolutely.
On the supplement side, I'm going to give you a handful. Collagen is a great place to start. If you have arthritis, you absolutely need to be looking into collagen. Collagen type 1, 3, and especially collagen type 2, and some of the ancillary components. We're talking about hyaluronic acid, glucosamine, and chondroitin. Collagen from bone broth is really, really amazing, but taking a collagen supplement is key. Also, omega-3 fatty acids. This is an interesting supplement that I absolutely love. It is, you're going to have to make a long space for it, hydrolyzed eggshell membrane.
Oh, yeah.
So this is, you know when you crack eggs and sometimes you don't get the egg cracked and there's a membrane between the shell and the egg. That is rich in, guess what? Collagen, glycosaminoglycans, including glucosamine, chondroitin, and hyaluronic acid. Hydrolyzed eggshell membrane in studies shows to work against pain, stiffness, and immobility in as little as 4 days.
Wow.
It is a really
Incredible.
phenomenal product. And even the hydrolysis, or rather fermentation, is unique. So hydrolyzed eggshell membrane is a powerful fighter of inflammation and pain. Let's throw on there my favorite antioxidant for arthritis, and that is astaxanthin. 4 milligrams a day of this compound that is produced from green algae exposed to certain environmental factors is a powerful antioxidant, particularly for joint protection.
You know, Jordan, one of the things I was noticing, a lot of the things we're putting up here, I was reading an article on boosting your body's natural production of stem cells.
Wow.
And so many of these things we had up here, in fact, in the studies, green tea extract was very high on the list, resveratrol from muscadine grapes, astaxanthin was on there, collagen was on there, omega-3s, vitamin D. I mean, all of these things
Makes you
really
young.
supporting your body's natural production of stem cells, which Jordan's talking about. It's really the key to anti-aging. It's the key to healthy joints and tissue repair. So important here. And this is a lot of advanced nutrition. I mean, what we've covered here is a lot of different things, obviously, that can be greatly beneficial. But, you know, we'll say this just in terms of a few action steps, and we'd love to answer your questions. But what I would recommend, if this is a lot of information for you, I would just sit down right now and maybe write down the top 3 things you're going to do, just to give you an idea for a meal and even cover a few things Jordan talked about. Jordan has recommended his patients for years make a decoction, so make a tea. So do something like, you know, a golden milk recipe with coconut milk, add in some cloves, a little bit of turmeric, maybe a pinch of cayenne in there, but start drinking that on a daily basis. You know, do a superfood smoothie, do a bone broth powder and collagen powder, do both together in a smoothie along with a little bit of either almond or coconut milk, maybe a thing of blueberries or some of the fruits we talked about. You could do figs or kiwi, pineapple, papaya to help reduce inflammation. You know, for a meal, do a big bowl of bone broth soup for lunch or a big salad with avocado. And for dinner, do some wild-caught sockeye salmon, maybe with a bed full of greens. If you start changing your diet like that, you're going to see huge results. And Jordan, I want to talk about one other thing along with foods here. I also wanted to mention exercise and movement for your joints. If you're a person that struggles with arthritis, you're going to want to stay away from that high impact exercise. And your real goal there is to do a couple things. One, you want to do exercise to build muscles around the area of pain, as well as doing exercise to increase flexibility and mobility within the joints. And a few things I love, Jordan. One, if we're talking about strengthening muscles, doing bands, doing some banded exercise or light dumbbells. So if you've got, let's say, elbow pain, work with maybe a physical therapist or an Egoscue practitioner. Egoscue can be great for strengthening muscles or improving your posture. And then movement-wise, swimming is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Cycling can be great if you have maybe knee issues, just really like getting on a spin bike, things like that. But anything you can do like swimming, cycling, a lot of times Pilates is absolutely fantastic. Bars, sometimes yoga, those types of exercise where you're lengthening muscles, strengthening structures, getting some mobility can be great for your joints as well.
Absolutely, and there's an exercise that is not as well known called gyrotonic or gyrokinesis, which is great to strengthen the important core muscles and joints, ligaments, and tendons. Keep in mind, folks, you might say, I've been watching you two for a month now. We've been on almost a month here at Ancient Medicine Today together, and you might say there's a lot of similarities. The acne recommendations are similar to the arthritis, which are similar to beauty, which are similar to women's health, which are similar to Crohn's disease. You're right, because natural remedies don't have side effects, they have side benefits. Yeah. And let me do this, before we answer questions, today's show in review, because there's a lot of overwhelming things. I'm going to pick a handful of top items for you to integrate into your life, rapid fire, that you can do. So let's get started. I do believe you can easily get sockeye salmon. Yeah. Consume sockeye salmon 3 days a week this week. Canned, you can buy it frozen. It's available fresh mostly in the summer, but frozen all year round. 3 times this week, make sockeye salmon. Also, get some herbs in your life, whether it's dried or fresh. Pick rosemary. We talked about rosemary. Consume rosemary, rosemary tea, infusion multiple times a week. On the spice side, make a golden milk with turmeric. You can certainly add ginger, you can certainly add clove. Start with turmeric, maybe a dash of cayenne pepper. Yep. Do it in a base of fats. Essential oil-wise, just consume and put topically frankincense on the place that hurts. Really, really important. Go find some medicinal mushrooms. Make a broth where you add turkey tail. Turkey tail is pretty easy to find. Nutrient-wise, make a plan on your next visit to your doctor to get your vitamin D level tested, but start optimizing vitamin D with the little bit of sun that's left this season. Go for that. And then supplement-wise, I recommend consuming substances that build collagen. Collagen, hydrolyzed eggshell membrane. There are many great supplements we recommend. Go for high-dose fish oil with rheumatoid arthritis. And if you're the person who asked about multiple sclerosis, you're in for a treat, because all of these recommendations will greatly benefit you as well.
Absolutely. Great recommendations here, guys. We got a question. Carol wants to know, is there a broth for vegans?
That's a great question. If you're going to make a broth and you're a vegan, I recommend a combination of sea vegetables, mushrooms in a base of miso. Now, it's not going to do exactly the same thing as what a bone broth would do, but you know what else you can do is infuse it with a little astragalus, turmeric, but the main ingredients, seaweed, mushrooms, and miso. I'm hungry.
Yeah, another question here, I'll answer this one. It's from Lorna. She says, should we be concerned with mercury in sockeye salmon? Allie, I'll give my take, and I'd love to hear Jordan's as well. In the research that I've seen, sockeye has some of the very lowest levels of mercury, very, very low compared to most other fish. In general, smaller fish are going to have lower levels. Fish that are more in the northern Pacific are going to have lower levels as well. So, for myself, for my wife, for my family and patients, I think sockeye salmon is great for everybody. If you're concerned with mercury, one of the things that I've seen, actually I read a recent article on chlorella and it having the ability to help protect your body from heavy metals and even radiation. So one of the things you might do is take some chlorella caps or a green superfood powder or some sort of organic super greens. Do that in a powder form with water. Drink some of those greens maybe right before or right after you do some, do fish if you are concerned with that. But in general, sockeye is very low. Hi, Dr. Axe here. I want to say thanks so much for checking out this YouTube video, and also don't forget to subscribe if you want to get more great content on things like herbs, essential oils, natural remedies, and how to use food as medicine. Also, check out more of our content on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.